Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, January 19, 2022, Wednesday, and this is 3:32 a.m. मैं सूरज सिंह भारत इंडिया से बोल रहा हूँ। आज दिनांक 19 जनवरी 2022 सुबह के 3:32 बुधवार का दिन। And back to you about episode of quality talk, safety talk, works talk, and how to understand, how to do, how to improve quality issues, safety issues, and work issues. It is a continuation talk, and I have a mission like this for quality improvement, safety improvement, and that's the reason I put always this title. That is, you can see on title, quality, that starts with quality and jumps on to concrete specifications, and of course then civil field engineering, life engineers, contracts structures, contract FIDIC books, red, silver, whites, and safety, health, environment, and then related issues which are designs and construction, both are combined, and of course what method should be used on contracts, then disputes, of course, organizations, and then what about communication and coordination. All these issues, all these topics, all these subtitles of topics are involved in works in engineering as well as in every branch of engineering, you can say, and that is life, and that's what we say life. Here is my name, address, and identification board, or you can see what is my role in my life professionally. I am, of course, on role of chartered engineers or membership, chartered engineer India by law, and of course at international level I am holding certification of International Professional Engineer India with a validity of 5 years. And of course I originally by academic qualification belong to Civil Engineering Division, and you can say I am civil engineer by qualification, and my communication, my contact email ID is here, Suraj_engineer, you can see spelling SURAJ_engineer ANGIENGINEER at yahoo.co.uk. Is telephone, but please don't call me. If you want to write, you are most welcome to write email, contact with email, and I will certainly respond to your queries. It's no problem for me, and here is evidence of my being on roll of international professional engineer, and that is in India, which title is written as INT PE, India, and of course it's Civil Engineering Division, and then you can see this Chartered Engineer India, which is by law in this country, Bharat, India, and that is if one is corporate member, as you can see here, by virtue of qualification, professional training, and corporate membership of this institution, that's Institute of Engineers India, this person is authorized to use title as such. And here is fellow membership, that is you can say fellow, which is grade number 1, grade number 2 is member, and grade number 3 is associate member. So fellow is corporate member, number 1 position, which is generally given to retired people or to those who have long experience, around 20 years, 25 years, like that, and they must hold responsible position Minimum wage requirement fellow is 40 years, minimum wage, day of application. And here is wonderful file which I call quality file. I generally entitle is quality in Bharat India, but it's for everyone. If you wish, you can use it. And then we have to go to concrete terminology. There's of course ACI. We got this references from ACI, which is American Concrete Institute, and that is where I have to discuss with you at end. Now I close this certificate of chartered engineer currently, and of course fellow, because I can't keep all files here. Then we have to deliberate on this topic of quality. Therefore, title that has been given to it is Engineering Approach on Designs, Manufacturing and Construction. You can say it is a kind of redefinition for working consideration. I'm not referring to any book. I don't have any interest in that, because in fact I did not find any book on quality requirement. I have tried to search internet, I have tried to find if some books are available. I see same repetition, same parrot writing, parrot talk. Parrot writing means generally conventional talks written by authors. I am not interested in all those documents. It's not that I am special or something, but what these books did not help. These books did not help, this writing did not help to upgrade or to bring back lost quality. And particularly in our country, Bharat India, we have not been successful, or we have not been successful. Whatever the reason, I am not going to those, because we have to come out of those bad quality environment. And that's the reason I'm writing, I recite here always quality. And all following descriptions like specifications. So I have to start with quality and go to concrete specifications in this case, and supported by field engineering, system of contracts, designs, etc. as you have seen. So when I say engineering approach on designs, when we start something, designs are involved. It may be initial designs like feed, which is basis of designs, which defines basis of designs, and real designs means detailed designs, which expand feed. You can say feed, when I say FEED, I have not written here, but it means if you see EF somewhere, FEED, this means front end engineering design, means design on front of project that you are going to do. What should be philosophy behind that? What should be criteria behind that? And that's a kind of descriptive arrangement for major or mega projects, or it can be in minds of those engineers for small projects. Maybe they don't write feed, but they got some mechanism in mind how to move on those designs. Design, you can say, is very significant part of engineering, without which we cannot move even a single step. Design is in fact primary engineering, you can say. Without designs, nothing can work. Not only in engineering, in every part, or you can say everywhere, but also you can say everywhere in life. It may be written design, it may be descriptive design, or it may be imaginary design, or it may be design without reference. Something works in your mind, that also is called design. We cannot say that this, of course it's not formal, it's not communicative, it's not something very small, but it is also to be designed. And that design works in mind of, sometimes some work is done by mason or carpenter or some technician without any reference to any drawing. Because of experience or because of some whatever you can say, they have something in mind. So I'm not saying that is engineering, but work is work. Some people are expert in very, very small activities. So we cannot deny those facts. Same way you can say designs are very important part, or you can say a must. You can't deny this fact. Designs only leads to manufacturing and construction both. Whatever processes are involved in engineering work, in the engineering industry, you can say, industry, all are based on designs. Process is an expansion of designs operations, designs implementation. Manufacturing is also same. Manufacturing is a club of processes. There can be many processes in manufacturing of one product. Some of those processes called manufacturing. Same way, there are so many events, so many activities, so many operations are involved in construction, and all those are based on detailed designs. Those designs are theoretical applications of mechanism of forces or actions, and then we have to apply them on products, on projects construction, and we can call them real construction, or you can say work is done on sites, that is construction site. Same way, it's manufacturing factory, it may be industrial plant. Everywhere engineering is carried out, is affected. There is no one definition of it. In our world, hundreds and hundreds of engineering products are manufactured and delivered. You cannot say all are bad quality, all are good quality. It depends. It depends on what has been mandated for one product, what has been mandated, but where you can say human resources are involved directly to be involved, and where machines or equipment are required to support works, and of course where you may say every mechanism is involved, and particularly those professionals who lead all these activities. If they do not apply quality requirements on such activities or various combinations of these activities, or they do not have courage to work with quality because of whatever reasons, we can never get quality. And we can never get quality means we can never get quantity and quality. Because works say, all work says that you have to understand time value, cost value, quality value, system value, value of durability, and successful use of material, satisfactory use of material, whatever material or product that is produced, that is manufactured or processed or constructed. It varies in lifespan, it varies in life of every product. Some product works for 6 months, maybe for 2 months, maybe for 1 year, maybe for 5 years, and some product works forever. It varies in lifespan. Nothing is fixed. But whatever lifespan has been fixed, that product must work successfully during that lifespan. But that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen despite every effort has been made. It changes because of its own behavior, product's behavior, material included within that product, that behavior, conduct. There may be natural properties changes, which is called hysteresis loss. Original properties minus hysteresis loss can be called current properties of that material. This means properties of materials cannot remain permanently same level. They keep on changing, just like energy changes its form, it never loses its potential. Same way we have to understand, but it can impact use. If it's not constant in property, it can impact its use power. Use is a very simple term I'm saying because it is engineering world and we have to use these products. Whatever products we manufacture or process or construct. And if we cannot do it, we cannot use it, this means there is no meaning of that product. It's waste if it does not fit its intended requirement. That's what I say. Engineering approach on designs, manufacturing and construction must be understood properly. And that's why I say redefined for working considerations. It's not for poetry, it's not for reading, it's not for showing, it's for use. Consideration. And I am inclined currently on what's happening in my own mother country, quality in Bharat, India. People may not know what is Bharat around world, but it's real name of this country in our own language and India. Everybody knows. We have system of quality in our ruling. We know it and all world know it that we have constitution of ours that is called Constitution of India. भारत का संविधान which is very important document and I can say it's quality title of our country. Quality title Republic of India which means Bharat ka Sanvidhan, Constitution of India which describes, which sets out a detailed framework of how we have to move this country, how we have to run this country, how we have to live legally within this framework. And this all framework can be called, of course it is permanent, it can be called a requirement, a privilege to everybody, and this can say a light of statement, fixed statement, which tells everyone what you are, what you can do, what you can achieve, what you can be in future. A such system we have to devise for every activity. I'm not saying we have to repeat what is constitution, I'm just giving you a reference. A durability of this has been till now, since its implementation in 1950 till now, it has been working successfully despite political upheavals. It has been on move, and that's what I say. Such original thought, contemplation must be produced or worked out for every activity, every work. In that case, we can say, if we consider our country, that is, we can say about quality. We know we have plenty of quantity. Everybody knows we are a big society. A nation of about 130 to 140 crores or 1300 million to 1400 million subjects or citizens is quite considerable expansion of our strength, which was around 300 million sometime, has gone to 130 crores or 1300 to 1400 crores. This means we have plenty human potential. Some are developed, some are not developed. And you may say out of this at least 30 to 40 crores or 300 to 400 crores, we must have youth, educated youth, semi-educated youth, highly educated youth, professional youth, highly professional youth, or you can say high skilled workers. All are there. I am not counting all population for work because all population never work. Particularly in our country, we can say not more than 25 to 30 or 40% people are counted as working class. Because about half can be taken out, those who are old or veterans, or those who are children. So very small percentage of people only contribute to our industrialization, our development. That point we have to keep in mind. Similarly, not more than 3 to 4% or 5% maximum population can be called engineering professionals, engineering workers. But if you calculate out of total population, it's a quite considerable quantity, quite quantified quantity. Let us say 5% we have. This means we have 7 crore people, or 6 to 7 crore people, or 5 crore people who are engineering professionals probably, or maybe if not alone engineering professionals, some other. Same way we maybe have millions doctors, millions advocates likewise, and all these come up and tell us that our nation is a knowledge society. That's wonderful. We are a knowledge society. We are not sleeping society. We are applied society. We have no dearth of knowledgeable people. That is plus point. And which point suggests that we should have highest level of quality in our country, because we have so many professionals. Other countries may not have so many professionals, except some countries like China. We can't expect so many professionals in Western countries or in other countries, because first of all, education system has been considered excellent in our country. What state now, that is different, but if you consider overall picture, which can be compared since 1947, our year of independence, we can say we have moved a lot. We have moved a lot in this direction. But have we used this resource or this human wealth? That is point of concern. When I think that, I can say I'm not sure, or why should I say I'm not sure? I can say that is point of concern. When I think that, I can say I'm not sure, or why should I say I'm not sure? I can say I am sure that we have certain problems. Why not to be frank enough? Why to hide certain facts? Hiding facts got no meaning. Simple question is, if I raise this, where does quality exist? My answer is direct, without any contemplation, without considering any hesitation. I can say no. I could not find address of quality where my country stands. I could not find that number which reference to I can say, yes, we are quality people, yes, we are qualified people, but we are academically qualified. We are not by pragmatism qualified. We are not expertise qualified. We may have experts. We may have specialists. We may have everybody, but not reality based. Not reality based. That is a question mark everyone has to think about. Quality means work quality. Quality means product quality. Quality means real quality, not certified quality. If I see certificate, I should say yes, it is honorable. This certificate indicates that this product or this service person has got some standards, can be relied upon, can be trusted. But does it work? everybody generally has got many certificates, academical particularly. That is also welcome. You have gone through studies. You have gone through many books, and then you come out with certain attainment, certain knowledge. And what we think, what is profession? Profession means knowledge that one has got in, that should be applied on works. And if that knowledge is not applied, then tell me what's the function of that knowledge, what's the function of that education system where our activities are not supported with. Or what's value of that culture where work is not done per requirement. And who shall fix that requirement? Only we shall fix that requirement, nobody else. That's why I say, I could not find that location of address of quality. Can you find it? Did you find it? Did you try it? Or did you even think on that? Forget trying. Did you think on that? Did you have any degree of contemplation? Are you not serious? Why are you not serious? And if you are serious, what degree of seriousness? And what did you do about that? All these questions are in same row, in same line. This means these are red lines, these are stops. We do not cross these stops. Why? What? How we can do it? That's my point of view to consider. So I can say, okay, these red lines must be turned green. There are red lines that must be turned green, and when we turn green, we can drive our vehicle. We can drive our vehicles, but where worries are, that points we have to consider. And believe me, I'm talking very seriously. And I also know I cannot change this scenario, but at least we can consider, we can discuss, we can deliberate and brainstorm. And that stage requires concentration, that requires understanding this problem, and also that requires how to come out of this problem by application of instant solutions. And solutions can be discovered and found out only after problems are well understood, well analyzed, and then solutions charted out. So what I say, let us see, when I say certain red lines that must be turned green, what does it mean? This means I call red lines as such worsening state of quality of concrete, for example, and how to improve such mandated quality to certain minimum required marks. Here I am saying quality of concrete. Okay, this is one. But it is quality of every material, because every material is concrete for me because it is useful. It's solid. Solid means has a strength. But particularly I am saying quality of concrete because concrete is a composite material, artificial stone, artificial rock it is, and it's very expensive. If we compare expenses that are expended on other, that are spent on other items, concrete is expensive. And not only expensive money-wise, it's expensive resources-wise. Concrete requires real resources, stone resources, dust resources, water resources, cement resources, human resources, machine resources. Concrete is a product where all these resources are involved. Worsening state of quality of concrete, I mean to say, really, can you think about this? Did you survey it? Or can you watch some concrete activity going on? how it is done. Even you can see big transit mixer, it doesn't guarantee its quality concrete. We cannot imagine guarantee is there. No. Engineer never accepts that. I never imagine quality exists. I have to see where is quality. I have to chat out its evidence. And I say worsening state of quality of concrete. Why I am saying worsening? Because really, if there is some other word below worsening, I can also say that. But let us say worsening. Maybe those who know quality of concrete, they know it's happening, but they do not speak. They silence themselves. I said this is also a lapse in quality, that we cannot speak. We cannot express our internal conflict with society, with working environment, with unreliable cultures of profession. Due to many reasons. Somebody wants to survive in job. Somebody wants to support someone. Immorally. So worsening state of quality of concrete is a big question mark. And how to improve such mandated quality to certain minimum required marks, that is another point of view, because we have to improve only way out of this problem. And that improvement is not easy. That improvement is not easy, really. Then another line says, worsening state of communication and coordination. Worsening state of communication and coordination during working on engineering designs and executions or construction activities. Again I say communication and coordination during working on engineering designs and executions of construction activities, which you can say is a part or parts in engineering activities, permanent, continuous, episodal activities. These communication and coordination activities are never ending. Project may end, but this may continue. It may be working designs, it may be engineering basic designs. These always keep on continuing, and executions keep on continuing, construction keeps on continuing. These are such activities which can never end, never end, never end. And role of engineers towards realizing these requirements. Already role is known. Nobody can say no. Deliberately, elaborately, experiment-wise, and you can say standards-wise, these roles are known. I am not speaking something extraordinary here. Role of engineers have been defined even in every branch of engineering, in every specialized fields, in one branch, other branch likewise. There is nothing to speak about that, but how to realize it virtually, practically, successfully. That is one point. Then we say, can we do it? Answer to question, who has to give? That's another point. Who has to answer this question? Can we do it? Or we are incompetent, inconsistent societies and communities within the society, and in engineering we are competent or incompetent. We have to think of and decide. We are having consistency or no consistency. We have to decide. Just like we say workability in concrete, we have to see we are workable or not. Are we serious or not serious in works? That you can say degree of seriousness do we have? And are we engineering force or incapable? Lot This is very big question mark on respect or honor of a nation. Are we engineering force or incapable lot? Are we force really? When you have millions and millions of engineers, there is no way we cannot call it force. It is force. But is it real force or sleeping force? When I say sleeping force means incapable lot. We have to chart out ourselves what is reason behind that. Who shall decide about all such questions? Who shall decide about all such questions that are being faced in current scenario? That is real question. Who shall decide about all such questions as given in foregoing? And our nation is facing it in current scenario. Very important conclusive question it is. And then we have detailed deliberations. That is another point. Now we have to think on. Because thinking is one requirement. Without thinking, sometimes even we can't sleep. And if you say we are sleeping society, sleeping is not a crime. Somebody has to sleep sometimes. So if you sleep within limits, that is fine. We say we sleep within limits. But if we sleep blindly, without caring for anything, in that case, we can say no. It is redundant sleep. It is redundant sleep. Should we sleep redundant? Do you know what's redundant? More than surplus. More than required. If we have something more than required, you know what happens? That something does not have any value because it is redundant. It is no use, it is having no function in that work. This worsening state, and particularly this line, my focus of talk is people of this country. And of course, in those people, strength, engineers are involved. And because engineers never answer these questions, therefore I'm not inclined to talk to engineers in this case. They have to check themselves. I am not blaming anyone. I am blaming, in general, system, in general, work culture, in general, accountability, responsibility, in general, what is more important? Best use of money, optimum use of resources, or just keeping thrown away? We throw away quality and keep with us quantity. Is that our profile? Is that our CV? Not at all. When I say we have qualified people, highly professionally educated people, what those people are supposed to do, or just writing degrees, titles are enough, or our works should tell this work has been done by such expert or specialist. Not because it's beautiful work, it's attractive work, but because it's performing work, it's service giving work, it is durable work. You have to be very serious in that regard. That is the only reason I try to include, even repetitively, even repetition wise, same question again and again. Because without quality, no life can survive. No life can survive. And it's very important here that I am considering communication and coordination issue. because world has changed in communication. World has entirely changed in its communications. And when communication changes, for sure, coordination system is also changed. This means we have now different environment where communication and coordination, you can say, can be considered big domain of excellence. That is because of various devices we have in use, various internet signals we have, various domains of websites we have, or you can say it is redundant, you may say. Yes, in our case you can say it is redundant, and that's big point of concern, what I should say. I'm not shying in that. Just a minute, please. I have no degree of shame. I have no degree of shame in calling that, because facts cannot be denied. Imagination can be denied. Horizon can be denied. But facts cannot be denied. And because life is based on facts, material is based on facts, engineering is based on facts, and our bodies, our lives, our requirements are based on facts. Life is never imaginary. Our body always works. Society always works. What is not fact is approach. Approach is not factual. Our approach is defective, indecisive, indeterminate. Where problem lies in. If I study something, my concept of understanding should be clear. Concept should be clear. Whatever subject, if I study or we study, mathematics, physics, chemistry, arts, commerce, law, or whatever else, even language, Hindi, English, or whatever. You may say, why I'm talking language? Yes, it's very important. If my language is not clear, if I do not understand language clearly, I cannot write correctly, I cannot read correctly, and when I cannot write and read correctly, I cannot understand correctly. It is so simple. Communication is a language, it is a system, it is a network as well. Do not underestimate it. Communication is not just a language or just a medium, it's something that each other has to understand by use of communication. And that's why working communication should be explicit, it should be clear, without having any degree of ambiguity. Without having any degree of ambiguity. We should not say your communication was not understood, or today such a system exists that people have a culture that, for example, something comes in news, oh, this is a statement by this person, by this leader, and next day you can say, leaders themselves say, oh, you misinterpreted what I said. Misinterpreted what I said. Same thing we can say in our profession. You misinterpreted what I say. But in profession, it doesn't work. In politics, it may work because politics is a fictitious world. Engineering is not a fictitious world. In engineering, mind is used to utilize resources, and resources are used to produce something, to construct something. Therefore, our communication is productive. Our communication is worth. Of course, it's measurable in terms of its use. There's no unit of measurement, but we can have assessment of what we have written or what we have published. And that communication is a professional communication, and we cannot write it as if it is granted. We cannot take it for granted. It should be intellectual communication. And that's the reason I am included here, communication and coordination. We cannot risk it. I'm not saying we have to only involve in translation or grammar use. No. Conception. Engineering requires clear conception. If I can't understand something clearly, I do not know its impact, I do not know its destination, and I abuse my language, that is not professional activity. I have to think on, even when I write, what I have to write. Right phrasing, right sentence. I'm not saying expert work, I'm saying working knowledge. What I think in engineering, that should be clearly understood. I cannot say, okay, partly I write, partly I don't write. You can't say that. A body is never complete if its all parts whatever required are assembled. It can never function. This means even one part is missed, body cannot work as it should. We have to keep this point in mind, that we deal in engineering with facts. Only profession is factual. Same way we deal in health system with facts, where facts are involved, or you can say some sort of engineering is involved. Engineering is full of facts. It's not imaginary world. It is real world. Sometimes we see engineering is full of energies, and these energies cannot be attacked. And if we attack these energies, these would explode. These would explode entire engineering. So we can say our quality system that should have been there has been exploded, has been set on fire. Frankly speaking, we have a blazed quality system. And that's why I say we have to bring it back. We have to bring it back. And that's why, how? What is lost, we have to bring it back. We have to bring it back. Academics, we have to bring it back. Theoretical knowledge, we have to bring it back. Practical know-how. Though we have constructed many structures, we have, but now scenario has changed. World has changed. Mostly people depend on computers. Dependence on computer means occult has gone. Occult has gone. Those energies which we used to have by working using manual activities of mind, those capabilities, those standard calibers, those standard practices have gone and have been taken over by digital world. I don't think it's bad. But what is bad? Is practice of thinking. What is bad is we achieved thinkingless activity, thoughtless activity. That is very harmful for everyone. There is no pride in saying that I do not know how to write or I can't write. Let me check through computers. Let computer write. Is that the right way? You tell me. You contemplate yourself. If you can't write, this means you can't think. So simple. If I can't write, that means I can't think. And if I can't think, how can I do research work? How can I do some work? I got some writing with very top class intellectual, that I am weak in one subject. And that subject is very important in engineering, without which engineering cannot move. That subject in engineering we call designs, drawings, plans, and without which you cannot even do anything. And say I don't like it, being engineer I don't like it, this means I withdraw myself from engineering. I withdraw myself from engineering. Because drawing is not only on papers or in digital screen, it should be in my mind. And this mind tells me what I have to do. And when I start even a scratch of that drawing, that scratch would tell me how I can improve that. Nobody else would tell me. My knowledge, part of knowledge, and that sketch, which requires more working on that. It would tell me how much I have done and how much is to balance to do. So I have to fill up that gap. And gap is very significant here. There are gaps not at one location, there are gaps on many locations. And that's where we can say concept speaks about. You are not sure. You're not listening to me. Concept says that. And engineering means concept. Engineering means how to do it. What is best way to do it? What's best quantity of proportioning on various materials to be mixed together? And what materials you have to do it? How you have to do it? Is or does some technology exist, or you have to manage it, organize it without technology, or you change yourself, something that's required to be done, which can be done mathematically, but process-wise you must have certain technology. That's where we are not serious about. And when I say quality relates to communication, and communication relates to quality, it's a very important issue. When I say communication, this means individual communication to individual. You have to communicate to yourself, and you may not accept this fact, but this is a fact. One has to communicate to self. And if I'm not able to communicate myself, then how can I communicate to someone else? And that communication is through medium of communication. That could be hard copy, soft copy, or references, or whatever has been decided to do something for one project or for some activity, where role of engineers start. And coordination is a combination of communications, and where many informations are available for something to do, then coordination requirement is imported. You have to import that requirement. Yes, it is coordination. You have to consider many communications together, many views together, many proposals together, and many options in requirements, all encircled within, encompassed within coordination and communication. There is no definite network of this. It depends on. Communication has no limits. It can be precise, it can be bulleted, or it can be essay. But it depends on your requirement. How do you think about that? Have you got sufficient knowledge to handle that? Despite having knowledge, sometimes we fail because of lack of communication and lack of coordination, which are very basic principles in engineering. Starting with ab initio formula or number one formula to all formulas, without communication, without coordination, without analysis, nothing can be done, nothing can be achieved. That's why we have to come out. We are not to rely on our educational syllabus. That's the important one. Education is very important, but that important cannot be converted to impotent. We cannot convert important to important. No, it's not permissible. If we are engineers, we should be serious. Just like every investor is serious. Every investor is serious in business. And we manufacture things, our products are saleable and sold. We sell it, we earn it. Why should we worry about that? Yes, your product is excellent one. Your product is sold and you get money. Is that only ambition? It's very clear question. Is that only option that you have to make money successfully? Or you have to help yourself to have more quality? What is your opinion about quality? How do you define it? How it is defined and how it should be defined in engineering? All are important points. We have to learn more about something in engineering other than these 4 or 5 questions, because those are all related to this. If I say I have to achieve quality or our defined limits, we have to achieve, what is way out? Who can do it? We have to do it. Who else has to do it? Answer is very clear. We have to respect others. We have to respect work. We have to respect everything. And we have to respect system. System, when I say, it's very different. I'm not saying only quality system. I am saying system. System means every required system merges in this. Quantity, quality, planning, designing, construction, process, whatever be it, included within this. Can we chat out this? Can we deliberate on that? Why should we worry about system? Because system is also not one, not two. Every survival is a system. God has given us system. We have to study that first, and that study itself can be systematic study. We can call it, it is system study. Really, it's very important point. System study, if we understand system study, we can understand everything. And if we build our own system based on our experience, based on our knowledge, I think there is nothing equal to that. We should always refer to our body, as body can be my teacher, and manufacturer of my body or constructor of my body is nature. And that's why I can refer to nature about how to understand myself, how to understand this world. If I think that way, I can know a lot. Our whole soul in charge is nature. When I say nature, this means superpower or supreme power is already involved there. I can't keep off from that power, though it's unknown, it's not seen, but it exists. It exists like electrical flow of electrons, we can say. We cannot see how does it work. We cannot see how electric works, but when appliance is fixed in, we can see this is load or this is appliance. Only then we can say, yes, it is on. Electrical process is ongoing. Otherwise, we have to touch that wire and get shocked to make sure that it's working. Very different understanding. Something is invisible, but it works. Something is visible, it works. And when we say machine is a system, but it's seen. It's material as well. It is a material, but it has a system. And that system is not visible by bare eyes. It is visible only by either results of production or by having that intellect, which can be used to know how it works, what does it exist. So when I say system formation, system design, it's really gross engineering, you can say, gross engineering requirement. You have to design system. You have to design system at every part, every step of journey. Whatever journey we undertake, there should be how many steps in that. Got my point? We have to decide preliminary like this. That's why specifically I have subtitled certain red lines that must be turned green. We have to understand these red lines. If we have to understand these red lines, even after understanding, we have to keep them in our considerations. Because red lines means power. Red lines means obstruction. Red lines means conflict. We have to convert these red lines to green lines so that we move, we travel continuously. But travel where? Travel on engineering. And again I remember, I remind, I recall that it is engineering. It's not something unknown. You have to analyze it and know it, and then understand it. I can't come back from engineering because it's my part. It gives me everything. It's not because I'm employed or not employed. It's something that it's used with. I don't know reason behind why people don't learn quality. Even intellectuals, engineers, and others, they don't learn quality. And if you don't learn quality, how can I use quality in my design? And I have to devise contracts also, as I said, construction contract, engineering procurement and construction contract, service contracts, or whatever contracts, without which life or activities cannot move either. So these red lines cannot be answered in one go. We have to jump on to detailed studies, detailed deliberations, and that is about contracts for construction. Should engineers know thoroughly, and about contracts for designs, procurement and construction. Should engineers know thoroughly, This point also comes, these points also come into picture, into our consideration, and we can say, do we organize to design quality contract, or do we go per lines decided by others? Should we ignore power and impacts on works, quality performance that contracts can attack on designs, power to prosecution and prosecution's power to design? Though it's and do our engineers have interest in contract design activity, which is very complex and impacts on contract performance, contract related disputes, both are there, performance as well as disputes. Our engineers, question is, are our engineers, those interested in designs activities, not inclined to involve with construction activities? And if you don't do that, what are valid reasons? These points and many more are going to come into, of course, these talks, and we have to brainstorm all this, if not in a group, individually, to know more and more, and we have to be serious about all this. It cannot remain in abeyance forever. Sometimes society has to get up. But it's different now. If you see people, they are hungry for everything. Loss of patience, loss of everything. In education, seriousness failed. Seriousness existed before, but it's gone somewhere else. And that's why it's a major concern for everybody, how to handle it, how to use it, how to improve it. How to improve it? This is very important now, because we have to continue all this, we have to continue everything, we have to do it, and we have to now go to our, I'll come back onto this file. Let me go to terminology again, which is second important phase of learning. Though it's not very powerful chapter, but it's basic chapter. Basic means something without basics. We cannot apply that on powerful basis, powerful plates. Concrete terminology is always powerful because there are so many questions, so many terms in this which you have to realize and understand. I think it was on page 59 last time. I don't know, 59 or 58. Let us see. Sampling plan. Sand we had discussed, and we had discussed sandwich panels, and we had discussed all this. So maybe more sealing compounds, the self-desiccation we had done. And of course we have gone through this sheathing and sheath file, we have gone through this. So we have to, can say which page, 61 maybe, probably. And the shrink loss, shrink cross reinforcement. So we have sieve analysis. Which page it was? Single size aggregate, Synther. Slump, I think. I know, we'll go back. What footing? Slump home, no, it's that time. Slab bolster. Let us see, starts here. I think silica powder, silica fumes. So we have to here sieve number, sieve analysis. Shrinkage, loss, shrinkages, no compensation. Let's see how page 60 can start. Okay, shims we had done. I remember shielding, congregation, shooting, shore, shoring, and shoring layout. Let us see, we start here. Shim, okay. We did up to here, let's say shim we did, and we can start. Now it's the shooting, place of shotcrete. It's called shooting in shore. Vertical or inclined support member or braced frame designed to carry weight of formwork, concrete, and construction loads above. Shoring, little expanded definition, props or posts, timber or other material in compression used for temporary support of excavation, formwork or unsafe structures. And shoring layout, a drawing prepared before erection showing arrangements of equipment for shoring. And short column, very common definition this, column whose load capacity is limited by strength rather than buckling, and a column so stocky and sufficiently restrained that at least 95% of cross-sectional strength can be developed. What is shorten? Shorten is to decrease in length, or you can say elongation and shrinkage we can refer to. And that is shotcrete. Shotcrete is concrete placed by high velocity pneumatic projection from nozzle. Concrete placed by high velocity pneumatic projection from a nozzle. Shotcrete rebound, shotcrete materials or wet shotcrete that bounce away from surface against which shotcrete is being projected. Shotcrete bound, shotcrete material or wet shotcrete that bounce away from surface against which shotcrete is being projected. Shotcrete rebound, shotcrete materials, wet concrete, you can say, wet concrete that bounce away from surface against which shotcrete is being projected. Shoulder, an unintentional offset in a formed concrete surface, usually caused by bulging or movement of formwork. Shoulder, an unintentional offset in a formed concrete surface, usually caused by bulging or movement of formwork. Shrinkage, decrease in either length or volume of material resulting from changes. Decrease in either length or volume of a material resulting from changes in moisture content or chemical changes. Shrinkage cracks due to restraint of shrinkage. Shrinkage cracking cracking of a structure or member due to failure in tension. Cracking of a structure or member due to failure in tension caused by external or internal restraints. As moisture content is reduced, carbonation occurs, or both. Shrinkage loss, reduction of stress. Reduction of stress in pre-stressing steel resulting from shrinkage of concrete. Reduction of stress in pre-stressing steel resulting from shrinkage of concrete. Shrinkage reinforcement. Shrinkage reinforcement. Reinforcement designed to resist shrinkage stress in concrete. Shrinkage compensation or shrinkage compensating. A characteristic of grout. A characteristic of grout, mortar or concrete made using expensive cement in which volume increases after setting and if properly elastically restrained, it reduces compressive stresses that are intended to approximately offset tendency of drying shrinkage to induce tensile stresses. This is shrinkage compensating. Characteristics of grout, mortar or concrete made using expensive cement in which volume increases after setting out, after setting, and if properly elastically restrained, induces compressive stresses that are intended to approximately offset tendency of drying shrinkage to induce tensile stresses. Shrinkage, we talked of shrinkage compressing cement, expensive cement we can say, shrinkage compensating concrete, concrete containing expensive components. Concrete, which is a shrinkage compensating concrete, concrete containing expensive components, usually based on information of calcium sulfoaluminate, which is called ethringite. Ethringite, concrete containing expensive components, usually based on formation of calcium sulfoaluminate, which is called ethringite, in a mixture of calcium aluminate and gypsum. Shrink mixed concrete. Ready mixed concrete mixed with partially in a stationary mixer and then mixed in a truck mixer. SI, System International, and that is modern metric system. Side face blowout failure. Concrete spalling on side faces around embedded head with no major breakout at top concrete surface. That is System International and side face blowout failure. And we have here sieve. What is sieve? A metallic plate. Sieve is a metallic plate or sheet, woven wire cloth, metallic plate or sheet, woven wire cloth, metallic plate or sheet, woven wire cloth, or other similar device with regularly spaced apertures of uniform size, mounted in suitable frame or holder for use in separating granular material according to size. So definition of sieve, we can see all sieve in laboratory, in material testing laboratory, where grading by size, particle size is to be investigated, and for that purpose we have different numbers of sieves or different sizes of sieve. And here is the definition of sieve, how we know it is a sieve. And this definition says a metallic plate or sheet, woven wire cloth, or other similar device with regularly spaced apertures of uniform size, mounted in a suitable frame or holder for use in separating granular material according to size. We have here sieve analysis. Sieve analysis is a process to determine particle size distribution of an aggregate, or it can be said grading also. Sieve fraction is that portion of sample that passes through a standard sieve. Sieve fraction, portion of sample that passes through a standard sieve of specified size and is retained by some finer sieve of specified size. Sieve number used to designate size of sieve. Sieve size, nominal size of openings between cross wires of a testing sieve. Then say sieve sizes, nominal size of openings between cross wires of testing sieve. And significant, what is significant here? Values of test statistics that lie outside of predetermined limits of test precision, and so taken to indicate a difference between populations, also called statistical significance. So significant can be defined as value of test statistics that lie outside of predetermined limit of test precision, and so taken to indicate a difference between populations, also called statistically significant. Silica dioxide, SiO2. Silica is silica dioxide, SiO2, and silica floor. Very finely divided silica, a siliceous A siliceous binder, very finely divided silica, very finely divided silica, a siliceous binder component, very finely divided silica, a siliceous binder component that reacts with lime, very finely divided silica, which is siliceous binder component that reacts with lime under autoclave curing conditions, prepared by grinding silica such as quartz to a fine powder, also called silica powder. Silica floor is very finely divided silica, very finely divided silica. A siliceous binder, a siliceous binder component that reacts with lime, under autoclave curing conditions, prepared by grinding silica such as quartz to a fine powder, also called silica powder. Silica fume, very fine non-crystalline silica, very fine non-crystalline silica produced in electrical arc furnaces as a byproduct of production of elemental silica, elemental silicon, or alloys containing silicon. Silica fume is very fine divided silica produced in electric furnaces as a so we can say silica fume, very fine non-crystalline silica produced in electric arc furnaces as a byproduct of production of elemental silicon or alloys containing silicon. Then we have here silica powder, we get silica floor. We have to see silicate, salt of silicic acid, which we can say alite, belite, blast furnace slag, bradygite, calcium silicate, brick, calcium silicate hydrate, silicate, clay, dicalcium silicate, fire clay, hydraulic hydrated lime, kaolinite, malachite, siliceous aggregate concrete, smectite, strathlings compound, tricalcium silicate, vermiculite, and zonolite. These are certain terms that are references only for silicon. We can find that the existence silicate in its definition is salt of a siliceous acid. But we can also refer to these terminologies. Compounds tricalcium silicate, vermiculite, and zonolite. Siliceous aggregate concrete. Siliceous aggregate concrete. Concrete made with normal density aggregates. We are talking of siliceous aggregate concrete. Concrete made with normal density aggregates having constituents composed mainly of silica or silicates. Silicon, a resin characterized by water repellent properties. A resin characterized by water repellent properties in which an you can say silicon, a resin characterized by water repellent properties in which main polymer chain consists of alternating silicon and oxygen atoms with carbon containing side groups. Just a minute, please. Let me massage my forehead to make mouth fresh. I'm not actually inclined to run fast on this description, because if definitions are clearly understood, we can benefit. So you can say silicon, a resin characterized by water repellent properties in which main polymer chain consists of alternating silicon and oxygen atoms. Alternative silicon and oxygen atoms with carbon containing side groups. Silicon can be defined as a resin characterized by water repellent properties in which main polymer chain consists of alternating silicon and oxygen atoms with carbon containing side group. Silicon. Silt, a granular material resulting from disintegration of rock with grains a granular material. I'm defining both silt, a granular material resulting from disintegration of rock with grains largely passing 75 micron sieve particles in range of 2 to 50 microns diameter. A granular material resulting from disintegration of rock with grains largely passing 75 micron sieve particles in range from 22.226.6 thick, 6 diameter, that is a granular material resulting from disintegration of rock with grains largely passing 75 sieve particles in range of 2 to 50 micron diameter. Simple beam. Before the silicon, I repeat, silicon, a large silicon, large characterized resin characterized by water repellent properties, resin characterized by water repellent properties, in which main polymer chain consists of alternating silicon and oxygen atoms with carbon containing side groups. Now simple beam, a beam without rotational restraint, a beam without rotational restraint, a beam without rotational restraint or continuity at its support, also called simply supported beam, a beam without restraint, without rotational restraint or continuity of its supports at its supports, no continuity and no rotation, and we can call it simply supported beam. Single sized aggregate. Single sized aggregate. Aggregate in which, let me see, percentage till now 49. I can say aggregate in which a major portion of particles is in a narrow size range. Single side aggregate, aggregate in which a major portion of particles is in a narrow size range. Sinter, a ceramic material or mixture fired to less than complete fusion. A ceramic material or mixture fired to less than complete fusion, resulting in a coherent mass. That is, process of creating ceramic material or mixture fired to less than complete fusion, resulting in coherent mass. Sinter is a ceramic one fired to less than complete fusion, resulting in a coherent mass. So sintering is formation of a porous mass of material by agglomeration of fine particles during particle fusion. Formation of a porous mass of material by agglomeration of fine particles during particle fusion. Agglomeration. 1 minute, please. So that was, you can say, whereas how we have centering, and that is formation of porous mass of material by agglomeration of fine particles during particle fusion. Skid resistance. Skid resistance, measure of frictional characteristics of surface. Measure of frictional characteristics of surface. Measure of frictional characteristics of surface, skid resistance, and slab. Slab, which is very common and everybody knows about that, but here is a small definition. A molded layer, molded or cast you can say, molded layer of plain or reinforced concrete, flat, horizontal, or nearly so, usually of uniform but sometimes of variable thickness, and supported by beams, columns, walls, other framework, or on ground. That is flat slab or flat plate. This is how we can define slab. How we can define slab. Sorry. So molded layer, a cast layer, molded layer of plain or reinforced concrete, flat, horizontal, or nearly so, usually of uniform but sometimes variable thickness, and supported by beams, columns, walls, or other framework. Slab bolster. Slab bolster is continuous wire bar support, continuous wire bar support used to support bars in bottom of slabs. You may say continuous wire bar support, you support bars in bottom of slab where top wire is corrugated at 25 mm centers to hold bars in position. Bar support actually it is. Then slab strip, middle strip, slab jacking, process of either raising concrete pavement, slab, or filling voids under them in both by injecting a material cementitious, non-cementitious, or asphaltic under pressure. Slab jacking is process of either raising concrete pavement slabs or filling voids under them, or both by injecting a material cementitious or non-cementitious or asphaltic under pressure. A slab on ground, a slab cast directly on ground, also called slab on grade. Slag, blast furnace slag, GGBS generally, and slag cement, granulated blast furnace slag that has been finely ground, and that is hydraulic cement. Slag activity index. Slag of ratio of compressive strength, you can say slag activity index, ratio of compressive strength of mortar cube, ratio of compressive strength of mortar cube made with equal amount of slag, ratio of compressive strength of mortar cube made with equal amount of slag and Portland cement to compressive strength of mortar cube made with same Portland cement. versus ratio of compressive strength of mortar cube made with equal amount of slag and Portland cement to compressive strength of mortar cube made with same Portland cement. Slag activity index. Now slag time. Slag time between initial mixing and ingredients reacting sufficiently to provide a stable mixture for testing and use. Time between initial mixing, slag time we are talking, time between initial mixing and ingredients reacting sufficiently to provide a stable mixture for testing and use. Slate, a fine-grained metamorphic rock possessing a well-developed facility, slaty cleavage, facility, usually not parallel to bedding planes of rock. A fine-grained metamorphic rock, we are defining slate, a fine-grained metamorphic rock possessing a well-developed facility, slaty cleavage, usually not parallel to bedding planes of rock. Sleeve, a pipe or tube passing through formwork for a wall or slab through which pipe, wires or conduit can be passed after forms have been stepped. A device used around an anchor to accommodate adjustments and preloading of anchor after concrete has hardened. A slender beam, a beam that, if loaded to failure, without lateral bracing, of compression flange would fail by buckling rather than flexure. A beam, if loaded to failure without lateral bracing of compression flange, would fail by buckling rather than flexure. Slender column, a column whose load capacity is reduced by increased eccentricity caused by secondary deflection moments. Slenderness ratio, effective unsupported length of a uniform column, divided by least radius of gyration of cross-sectional area. Slenderness ratio, effective unsupported length effective unsupported length of a uniform column divided by least radius of gyration of cross-sectional area. can't take risk. I have to put it down now. 7. I tell you, put it down. Don't take risk. Forget otherwise. I'm very cold. Oh my God. Not even 1 minute I can tolerate it. So what I'm saying is, here is what I say. Certainly something's right here. I started discharging. Now what I'm doing is 1 hour 51 minutes, no problem. Let us go continuously. So what I say, sliding, slender beam we have shown, slender column, slender ratio, and it's then rapid movement. Gyration is a rapid movement in a circle. Rapid movement in a circle or spiral. A whirling motion, gyration of dancers' arms and legs. Meaning of gyration is an act or instance of gyrating, an act of this instance of gyrating, something such as soil, coil of a shell. Gyration, act of process of gyration, rotation. Gyration definition, meaning act of gyrating. कर रहे आती हूँ गया रहती हूँ gyration meaning in Hindi के चक्कर इस चक्कर English definition a single complete turn axial or orbital plane made 3 rotations before it crashed. Okay, revolution of Earth about Sun takes 1 year. So meaning of gyration is a single complete turn. We continue as it is. No problem. We see what it says here is we are going to talk of this now. So let's say it is now, we can say slenderness ratio talking, and slenderness ratio is effective unsupported length of uniform column divided by least radius of gyration of cross-sectional area. Least radius of gyration of cross-sectional area. Slenderness ratio is always a number more than 1, and effective unsupported length of column divided by least radius of gyration of sectional area, and that least radius of gyration is that one. A slick line is end section of a pipeline. Slick line is end section of a pipeline used in placing concrete by pump. End section of a pipeline used in placing concrete by pump, that is immersed in placed concrete. and moved as work progresses. Slick line and section of pipeline used in placing concrete by pump that is immersed in placed concrete. That pump that is immersed in placed concrete is in section pipeline and moved as work progresses. Sliding form is slip form. We can say that term is slip form or sliding form. Slip, movement occurring between steel reinforcement and concrete in stressed reinforced concrete, indicating anchorage breakdown. That is what is a slip. Slip is movement occurring between steel reinforcement and concrete in stressed reinforced concrete, indicating anchorage breakdown. Slip form, a form that is pulled or raised as concrete is placed. Sloped footing, a footing having sloping top or side faces. Sloughing, SLOUGH, sloughing, subsidence of shotcrete, plaster or hike or like, generally due to excessive water in mixture, also called sagging. Subsidence of shotcrete, plaster or like, generally due to excess water in mixer, also called sagging. Slugging, pulsating and intermittent flow of shotcrete. Pulsating and intermittent flow of shotcrete material due to improper use of delivery, equipment and material. Slugging, pulsating and intermittent flow of shotcrete material due to improper use of delivery, equipment and materials. Slump, a measure of consistency of freshly mixed concrete. A measure of consistency of freshly mixed concrete, mortar or stucco, equal to subsidence measured to nearly 5 mm. A measure of consistency of freshly mixed concrete, mortar or stucco, equal to subsidence measured to nearest 5 mm of molded specimen. Immediately after removal of slump cone. Slump cone, a molded in form of lateral surface. A mold in form of lateral surface of frustum of a cone with a base diameter 203 mm, top diameter 102 mm and height 305 mm, used to fabricate a specimen of freshly mixed concrete for slump test. Slump loss, amount by which slump of freshly mixed concrete changes during a period of time after an initial slump test was made on a sample or samples thereof. Slump loss is amount by which slump of freshly mixed concrete changes during a period after an initial slump test was made on a sample or samples thereof. Amount by which slump of freshly mixed concrete changes during a period of time after an initial slump test on a sample or samples thereof. Slurry. Slurry, a mixture of water and finely divided insoluble material. A mixture of water and finely divided insoluble material such as Portland cement, slag or clay in suspension. A mixture of water and finally divided insoluble material such as Portland cement, slag or clay in suspension. Smack tight. Smack tight. A group of clay minerals including montmorillonite characterized by sheet-like internal atomic structure. Sheet-like internal atomic structure consisting of extremely finely divided hydrous aluminate. A group of clay minerals including montmorillonite characterized by a sheet-like internal atomic structure consisting of extremely finely divided hydrous aluminum or magnesium silicates that swell on wetting, shrink on drying, and are subject to ion exchange. So we can say again, a group of clay minerals is magnetite. A group of clay minerals including montmorillonite characterized by a sheet-like internal atomic structure consisting of extremely finely divided hydrous aluminate or magnesium silicate that swell on wetting, shrink on drying, and are subject to ion exchange. Its definition of clay says kind of clay mineral, a group of clay minerals including montmorillonite characterized by sheet-like internal atomic structure consisting of extremely finely divided hydrous aluminum or magnesium silicates that swell on wetting, shrink on drying, and are subject to ion exchange. Snap tie. A proprietary concrete wall form tie, end of which can be twisted or snapped off after forms have been removed. a proprietary concrete wall form tie, end of which a proprietary concrete wall form tie, end of which can be twisted or snapped off after forms have been removed. Snow load, force considered in design of a flat or pitched surface, usually a better we have here snap tie, a proprietary concrete wall form tie, end of which can be twisted or snapped off after forms have been removed. Snow load, force considered in design of a flat or pitched surface, usually a roof, for a possible amount of snow, ice, or both lying on it. Soffit, underside of a part or member of a structure, such as beam, stairway, or arch. Soil, a generic term of unconsolidated natural surface material above bedrock. Soil cement, a mixture of soil and measured amounts of Portland cement and water compacted to high density. A mixture of soil and measured amounts of Portland cement and water compacted to high density. Soil pressure is contact pressure, and soil stabilization, chemical or mechanical treatment designed to either increase or maintain stability of a mass of soil or otherwise to improve its engineering properties. So we can say soil stabilization, a chemical or mechanical treatment designed to either increase or maintain stability of a mass of soil or otherwise to improve its engineering properties. Solid masonry unit, a unit whose net cross-sectional area in every plane parallel to bearing surface is 75% or more of its gross cross-sectional area measured in same plane. A solid masonry unit is a unit whose net cross-sectional area in every plane to bearing surface is 75% cross-sectional area, whose net cross-sectional area in every plane parallel to bearing surface. We have then here solid masonry unit. Then we have here solid masonry wall. A wall built of blocks or solid masonry units, mortar completely filling solid masonry wall, a wall built of blocks or solid masonry units, mortar completely filling joints between units. Sorry. I'm sorry. So we can go further here. So solid panel is solid slab usually of constant thickness. A solid slab usually of constant thickness, and solid volume is absolute volume. Solid unit masonry. Solid unit masonry. Masonry consisting wholly of solid masonry units laid in mortar. Right. Here is solid masonry. Masonry consisting wholly of solid masonry units laid in mortar. Solubility, amount of one material that dissolves in another. Amount of one material that dissolves in another, generally expressed as mass percentage, as volume percent, or parts per 100 parts of solvent, by mass or volume at a specified temperature, parts per 100 parts of solvent, with solubility defined as one material that dissolves in another material and is expressed as mass percent, volume percent, or parts per 100% of solvent by mass or volume at specified temperature. Solution. Liquid consisting of at least two substances. Liquid consisting of at least two substances, one of which is a liquid solvent in which other or others that may be either solid or liquid are dissolved. Soundness. A liquid consisting of at least two substances we have discussed. Now, soundness. Freedom of solid. Freedom of a solid from cracks. Freedom of solid from cracks. Flaws, fissures, or variations from an accepted standard. What is that? Soundness. We are defining soundness. Freedom of solid from cracks, flaws, fissures, or variations from an accepted standard. In case of cement, freedom from excessive volume change. Freedom from excessive volume of change. Okay. So what I say is freedom of a solid from cracks, flaws, fissures, variations from an accepted standard in case of cement, the freedom from excessive volume change after setting. In case of aggregate, ability to withstand aggressive action to which concrete continues. Concrete containing it. So we can say ability to withstand aggressive action to which concrete contain it might be exposed, particularly that due to weather. Now we have to go to spacer. Let me repeat: soundness, freedom of solid from rocks, solid from cracks, freedom of solid from cracks, flaws, fissures, variations, or you can say from an accepted standard in case of cement, freedom from excessive volume change after setting. In case of aggregate, ability to withstand aggressive action to which concrete containing it might be exposed, particularly due to weather. And spacer is a device. Spacer is a device that is used mainly. Device that maintains reinforcement in proper position. Also a device for keeping wall forms apart at a given distance before and during the concreting. Sprayer, spacing factor. A spacing factor, an index related to maximum distance, of any point or 2 points in a cement paste section of mortar or concrete from a peripheral of an air void. A spacing factor, index related to maximum distance with a point in cement. Maximum index related to maximum distance of any point in a system paste or cement paste friction of mortar concrete from periphery of an all void, also called powers and spacing factor. Spading, consolidation of mortar or concrete by repeated insertion and withdrawal of a flat spade-like tool. Spading is consolidation of mortar or concrete by repeated insertion and withdrawal of flat spade-like tool. Spall, a fragment usually in shape of flake. The test permit larger mass by a blow, action of weather, pressure or expansion within large mass. Spalling, development of spals and span, distance between support restrictions of members carrying transverse loads. So we can say now spal, already we discussed fragment usually in shape of flag, then spaling we have then span. Spaling is development of spals. Then span is distance within supports, reactions of members, and alright, then we can say span length is effective span. Span depth ratio, numeric ratio of total span to member depth. Span depth ratio here is span depth ratio. And we have numerical ratio of total span to member depth. We have spandrel. Spandrel is that part of wall between head of a window and sill of window. Head of a window and sill of window, above it. Spandrel, you can say part of a wall between head of window and sill of window. Spandrel is a part of wall between head of window and sill of window. Spandrel. Spandrel beam. A beam in perimeter of building. A beam in perimeter of building spanning between columns and usually supporting a floor or roof. Spandrel is a part of wall between head of window and sill of window, and beam in perimeter of buildings spanning between columns and unusually supporting a floor or roof. And usually supporting a floor or roof, beam on a perimeter of a building, spanning beam between beams and then we have a spandrel beam, perimeter of building spanning between columns and usually supporting a floor or slab roof. Spatter dash. Spatter dash. A beam in, spatter dash, a rich mixture of Portland cement and coarse sand thrown onto background of a wall of a trowel by trowel, background by trowel. Scoop other appliance to form a textured, thin, coarse textured, continuous coating as a preliminary treatment before rendering it. Assist bond of undercoat to background. Improves resistance to rain, penetration, and evens out to suction of variable backgrounds. This says called dashboard coat or patch. The spatter dash, a rich mixture of Portland cement and coarse sand thrown onto a background by a trowel, scoop, or other appliance to form a thin, coarse, textured, continuous coating as a preliminary treatment before rendering. Its assist bond of undercoat to background. Improves resistance to rain, penetration, and evens out suction of variable backgrounds. Dashboard coat or patch. Specialty structure engineer, licensed design professional retained by a contractor or specialty subcontractor to design a delegated province. So we can say specialty structural engineer, licensed design professional retained by a contractor or specialty subcontractor to design delegated parts of structures. Now, specific gravity factor. Especially gravity factor, ratio of mass of aggregate. Ratio mass of aggregate as introduced into mixture to effective volume displaced by aggregate. Ratio of mass of aggregate including moisture as introduced into mixture to effective volume displaced by aggregate. Specific gravity factor. Okay, now we have here specific heat. Amount of heat required per unit mass to cause a unit rise. Amount of heat required per unit amount of heat required per unit mass to cause a unit rise of temperature over a small range of temperature. Amount of heat required per unit mass of the club cause to unit rise of temperature. Effective amount of heat required per unit mass to cause a unit rise of temperature over a small range of temperature. Specific surface, the surface area of particles or of aeroids. Specific surface areas, particles or aeroids contained in a unit mass or unit volume of a material. Surface area of particles or aeroids contained in unit mass of a unit volume of a material. Specification: an explicit set of requirements to be satisfied by material, product, system, and service. Specified compressive strength, specified compressive strength of concrete used in design, specified concrete compressive strength, specified resistance of a concrete specimen to axial compressive loading used in design calculations and is basis for acceptance of concrete used in work. Specified concrete equivalent strength. In place concrete compressive strength adjusted by correction factor. Specified resistance of concrete specimen to axial compressive load used in design calculations and basis of acceptance of concrete used in work. And specified concrete equivalent strength. In place concrete compressive strength adjusted by correction factor that can be directly substituted into conventional strength equations are. So what's that? Specified concrete compressive strength and then specified concrete equivalent strength. In place concrete compressive strength adjusted by correction factor. In place concrete compressive strength adjusted by correction factor that can be directly substituted into conventional strength equations with customary strength reduction factors. In place concrete in place concrete compressive strength adjusted by correction factor that can be directly substituted into conventional strength equation with customary strength reduction factor. And then specifier, person or entity preparing specifications for a material, product, system or services. So this is specification. Specimen, a piece of So we have here specimen and specifier, a person or entity preparing specifications for a material, product, system or services called specifier, and specimen, a piece of portion of sample used to make a test. Spelling. essential factor of process of production. Essential factor of process of production. Spun concrete. See also spun concrete. Spinning is essential factor of process of producing spun concrete. ये पहनना मुश्किल हो रहा है यार. Let us see. It's not. This book is. It's better, I think, yes, because I'm covering face also with this. Less, you will find less. So we can do like this. I think it's better. Yes, it is better like this. Okay. So we can define essential factor of process. Spinning is essential factor of process of producing spun concrete. Spun concrete, that is essential factor of process of producing spun concrete. Spiral reinforcement, continuously wound reinforcement in form of cylindrical helix. Spirally reinforced column, a column in which vertical bars are enveloped by spiral reinforcement. Splice, connection of one reinforcing bar to another by lapping, welding, mechanical couplers or other means. Connection of welded wire reinforcement by lapping, connection of piles by mechanical couplers. Split face block, a concrete masonry unit with one or more faces purposely fractured to provide architectural effect in masonry wall construction. Splitting tensile strength. Tensile strength of concrete determined by splitting tensile test, also called indirect tension strength. So we can say then after splice, after split face block, a concrete masonry unit, one or more faces is purposely fractured to provide architectural effect in masonry wall construction. A splitting tensile strength means Tensile strength of concrete is determined by a splitting tensile test called indirect tension strength. Splitting tensile test is a test for tensile strength in which a cylindrical specimen is loaded to failure in diametral compression applied along entire length. And then we have here, we have here spray drying. Spray drying, a method of evaporating liquid form. Method of evaporating. Spray drying is a method of evaporating liquid from a solution. Evaporating liquid from solution or dispersion by spraying it into a heated gas. A method of evaporating is liquid from a solution. A method of evaporating liquid from solution or dispersion by spraying it into heated gas. That is spray drying and sprayed concrete. European terminology for shotcrete. Concrete placed by high velocity pneumatic projectiles from a nozzle. Spray mortar. Spray mortar and let's say spray mortar, low velocity spray mortar, low velocity spray mortar. A low velocity or low pressure was spray using pre-packaged mortar. Spread footing, generally rectangular prism of concrete. Rectangular prism of concrete larger in lateral dimensions. Larger in lateral dimensions than column or wall supports. Distribute load of column or wall to subgrade. Okay, now split drying is over, split concrete is over, and split mortar is also over. We have split footing, a general rectangular prism of concrete. A generally rectangular prism of concrete, larger in lateral dimension than column, larger in lateral dimensions than column or wall it supports. To distribute load to column, load of column, a continuous raise. So you have to spread footing, generally rectangular prism of concrete, larger in lateral dimension, I can say, then column of wall supports distribute load of column or wall to subgrade spreader. Spreader, a piece of lumber approximately 25 by 50 mm, 25 50 mm cut to thickness of wall and other formed Then we have here, further we are saying that a piece of lumber that is 25 mm section cut to thickness of wall or other form element and inserted in form to hold it temporarily at correct dimension against tension of firm ties. The device consists of reciprocating paddles in a revolving screw or to receive or other mechanism for distributing concrete to required uniform thickness in a paving slab. Spreader, a piece of lumber approximately 25 mm in 50 mm cut to piece thickness of wall, cut to thickness of wall or other formed element and inserted in form to hold it temporarily at correct dimensions against tension of form ties. Device consists of reciprocating paddles, a revolving screw, or other mechanism for distribution. This with the concrete required uniform thickness. What we have here? We have here spud vibrator. Spud vibrator. We have spud vibrator, a vibrator with vibrating casing, a vibrator with vibrating casing or a vibrating head used to consolidate freshly placed concrete by insertion into mass. Vibrator with vibrating casing or a vibrating head used to consolidate freshly placed concrete by insertion into mass. Spun concrete, centrifugally cast concrete. Stacking tube. As now we have spun vibrator, as I said, same. Now spun concrete, centrifugal cast concrete, stacking tube. Stacking tube, a slender freestanding tubular structure used to store granular materials. Stacking tube, a slender freestanding tubular structure used to store granular materials. Metal is loaded into top of tube and spills out of walls openings to make a conical pile sounding tube. Slender freestanding tubular structure used to store granular materials. That is loaded at the top of tube and spills out of wall openings to make conical pile surrounding tube. So it says a slender freestanding tubular structure used to store materials. Material is located. Material is loaded into top of tube and spills out of wall openings to make a conical pile surrounding tube. Stain, use of chemical stain or concrete dye to change color of concrete surface that can be penetrant or yellow build coating that doesn't appreciably change concrete's texture. Use of a chemical stain or concrete dye. Use of a chemical stain or a concrete dye to change color of concrete surface that can be penetrant, low build coating. It doesn't appreciably change concrete texture. Stamping, process of applying a surface pattern. Process of applying a surface pattern to decorative concrete. We have then tamping, the process of applying a surface pattern to decorative concrete. Process of applying a surface pattern to a decorative concrete by using impact pressure to emboss texture, patterns or fox joints into surface of plastic concrete. So the tamping is process of applying a surface pattern. Process of applying a surface pattern to decorative concrete by using impact pressures to emboss textures, patterns or fox joints into surface of plastic concrete. Standard curing. Exposure of test specimen to specified conditions of moisture and temperature. Standard fire test prescribed by STME 919. Standard book with hook at end of reinforcing bar made in accordance with standard reinforcing bar with end bent Here you can say hook at the end of reinforcing bar made in accordance with the standard. We can say a reinforcing bar with the end of bent into hook of prescribed geometry to provide anchorage. A hook at the end of a reinforcing bar. Standard hook is a reinforcing bar made in accordance with the standard. Standard hook bar, a reinforcing bar with then we can say here you can say standard hook bar, a reinforcing bar with end bent to hook of prescribed geometry to provide anchorage. And you can say standard sand, silica sand composed almost entirely of naturally grounded grains of nearly pure quartz used for preparing mortars in casting of hydraulic cements. Standard sand is silica sand composed almost entirely of naturally rounded grains of nearly pure quartz. We have here, you can say, standard sand, silica, sand composed almost entirely of naturally rounded grains of nearly fine pure quartz used for preparing mortars in testing of hydraulic cements. High standard time temperature scouts graphic timetable for application of temperature of a material to a material or member. A standard time temperature curve graphic timetable for application of temperature to a material or member of ASTME EN9 fire test. Static load mass of single stationary body or combined masses of stationary bodies in a structure such as load of stationary vehicle on a roadway. During construction, combined mass of forms, stringers, joists, reinforcing bars and actual concrete to be placed. Static modulus of elasticity. Value of Young's modulus of elasticity. Static modulus of elasticity, value of Young's modulus of elasticity obtained by arbitrary criteria from measured stress-strain relationship derived from other dynamic loading. Stationary hopper. A stationary hopper, a container used to receive and temporarily store freshly mixed concrete. A container used to receive and temporarily hold material. So we can say here stationary hopper. It is a container used to receive and temporarily store freshly mixed concrete, and steam curing. Curing of concrete, mortar, grout or neat cement paste vapor in water vapor at atmospheric or higher pressures at a temperature between approximately 40 and 215 degrees Celsius. Steam curing in water vapor at atmospheric or higher pressures and at temperatures between, you can say, 40 and 215 degrees Celsius. Stearic acid. Stearic acid So we have to now go to stearic acid, a white crystalline fatty acid. Stearic acid, a white crystalline fatty acid obtained by saponifying a white crystalline fatty acid obtained by saponifying tallow or other hard fats containing stearin, that is stearic acid, white crystalline fatty acid obtained by saponifying tallow or other hard fats containing stearin. Steel sheet, cold form steel or strip, still galvanized in now we have, you can say, stearic acid we decided, white crystalline fatty acid obtained by saponifying tallow or other hard fats containing steam, and steel sheet is cold form steel sheet, cold form sheet or strip steel shaped as a structural member for purpose of carrying live and dead loads in lightweight concrete roof construction. Steel trowel, steel trowel is trowel as this is stencil pencil, stencil pattern concrete, say stencil pattern concrete, texture created by use of pre-printed pattern stencils or pre-formed using alternate texture materials. Texture created by using pre-printed pattern stencils or free-form using alternate texturing material. Step footing, step-like support consisting of prisms of concrete of progressively diminishing lateral dimensions superposed on each other to distribute load of column or wall to subgrade. Sticky cement, sticky cement, finished cement at sticky cement, here. Okay, so stoichiometric. Stirrup. You can say stirrup. Where do we stand now? Stand here, right? It's now. You can say it's now. Stirrup we have discussed. Now, stoichiometric, but non-zero tensile load beyond point of first cracking. Its ability to carry reduced tensile load beyond point of first cracking. Strand, a pre-stressing tendon, a pre-stressing tendon composed of numerous wires. A pre-stressing tendon composed of numerous wires twisted around and center wire or core, ordered assemblage of filaments of predetermined quantity based on number of filaments per strand that have high ratio of length to diameter, are normally used as a unit and are bundled together to resist splitting or filamentation. A pre-stressing tendon composed of numerous wires twisted around center wire or core, ordered assemblage of filaments of predetermined quantity based on number of filaments per strand that have high ratio of length to diameter, are normally used as a unit and are bundled together to resist splitting or filamentation. Strand wrapping, application of high tensile strand. Machines around circular concrete or shotcrete walls, domes, or other tension resisting structural components.